This is the B-side, B-side, B-side of marriage. This is the B-side, B-side, B-side of marriage.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Bside of Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Rashonda, and this is my husband and co-host,
Jason.
And here at the B-Side, we talk about everything related to marriage. The good, the bad, the real, the A, and the B-side. So, if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, please be sure to rate and comment and subscribe. Or if you're listening on any of the audio platforms, please be sure to rate and review so that others can help find the podcast.
As well, follow us on Facebook at the Bside of Marriage and on Instagram at Bside of Marriage.
Yeah, we drop some weekly, actually daily nuggets, I think.
Yeah, we do.
On how to improve your marriage and just how to...
Relationship and marriage, yeah.
Get through life on a good foot. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad to have you. If you're returning, we're glad that you're still hanging with us.
Yes.
So with that, let's just jump right on into the show. Right? Anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, I was like, did I forget something? Okay. So we'd like to start every episode with an A or B side moment from our week. And because I introduced the segment, Jay gets to go first.
Yeah, so my B side is these allergies kicking my butt this whole weekend. I don't know what it is. I've been taking my medicine. It's been kicking my butt. so
hopefully he'll make it through that.
Hopefully I make it through it, and as you probably hear my voice, it sounds a little different. Cause I don't know if it's weird. Yeah, as you can tell. So I'll be drinking a lot of water.
Yes, you can see he has more color this week.
I ain't got no white shirt.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to make you laugh.
Oh, goodness.
But allergies it was for you the weekend.
Yeah.
But for me, it just happened like last night. And it's so weird. Yeah. It's just, anyway, so I'm hoping that's because we're actually going to get some fall weather here in Texas. Because on Friday, when we were hanging out outside, it was 100 degrees.
Yeah, first week.
That was like the second day of fall.
Yeah, I was there first and second day
100 degrees.
Of fall.
And this weekend was the same. My A side is that I am grateful for friends friends that are like family who push me to have experiences that I wouldn't typically have. For example, this past weekend. So growing up, I was not your typical girly. I wasn't a girly girl. Okay. So I didn't really do the dolls. I didn't really like the dresses and stuff. I mean, I wore dresses to church, but it wasn't like, ooh, mommy, I want this dress. And even with dolls, like, we were making it, right? So the only doll that I truly had that I cherished was a doll that was made by one of my aunts. Oh. It was a Cabbage Patch doll. So anyways, fast forward to, there's a new thing. Well, it's not really a new thing. It's an old thing called American Girl. And that's like a big thing. And it's kind of like a rite of passage. It's like it's truly a whole thing. Well, of course, our daughter is very much a girly girl. And so my friend was like, you need to take her. We're going for, her best friend's birthday. She should come. And then my friends were also pushing me to also not just go to support, but to go so she can purchase one as well. Well, that stuff is like a whole thing. It's expensive. There's accessories. It's like a salon for a doll. It was a lot, and I'm still adjusting to it. But I do thank my family for pushing me to have this experience with her and to truly just have that moment. It was a bonding moment. She loves her doll, and
you named her.
named her, renamed her, changed her name 15 million times. But as long as she loves it and is not going to cut the doll's hair or highlight the hair, because like I said, we have very much a girly girl. She does she's very much into hair. And want to style it, braid it, all the things.
Even mine.
Yes, even her dad's. Yeah. So but it was just cool having that experience with her, and I'm sure she will remember it for a while. I know I will, because I was overwhelmed.
Yeah,
forget the girls. Where I walked in, I was like, wait, what?
I got a lot of texts,
There's a lot going on. And but that was my A side.
Okay. So next we have the P2P shares, where we share something we're listening to, reading, or watching. To be honest with you, last week I didn't really watch or listen to anything because I had a lot of work. So I'll be honest, I was just focused on that. So yeah. What about you?
I was spending a lot of time just recovering. It was like my first break in between quarters. So I was doing a lot of napping, which was great, but I was also, so I am a true crime fanatic, I guess you can say. And I like to follow cases that deal with like social injustice and like improper incarceration of individuals. So I'm not going to promote it too much, but there is a documentary on Netflix. Well, it's not really a documentary. It's a docudrama. I think that's what they call those. Anyways, it's really graphic, disgusting, and will frustrate you, but it's an accurate portrayal of a serial killer. Okay. And so anyways, and I liked it because it also comes from the victim's perspective, not just the murderer, because they usually like, oh, he was whatever. So it gives both sides. So it was really like frustrating, but yet good to hear their side of their experience as well, and that how they're living and dealing with it, as well as I started listening to podcasts due to Serial, and this week or last week, Adnan was released. So it was like kind of like an up and down kind of thing for me. So it was like a good week for true crime fanatics. So so if you're into any of that, definitely check them out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, she's like
he
enjoys it. I don't.
And he's also like, how can you like watch this and go immediately to bed? And I'm like, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Got to sleep with my eye open. No, I'm kidding. I can't. I ain't gonna sleep. Nah.
And we're still together.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
Oh well, today we are talking about how to show up well in your relationship when you don't want to. Well, when you're not feeling it. When
you don't want to.
Well, yeah, when you don't want to. Okay. Well, and that could be many reasons, right? Okay. It can be, one, you're not feeling well.
Oh, like I'm running that. Okay.
So, you're not feeling well, or you're feeling unfulfilled.
Okay.
Or you're just exhausted and drained and feel like you're carrying a lot of the load. So there's a variety of reasons why you might not be feeling it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I know what you're saying.
And so just want to talk about what are things to do in those moments, in those seasons, because marriage is not like 50-50.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not like going half on anything, because there's different criteria, requirements, responsibilities, and that varies at times. So we can't say that. So there will be times where you feel like you might be carrying the load of something. Like if there's a big project, like if you have a big project going on for work, I'm going to carry a lot of the load on maintaining like the house and the kids, so that you can do do what you need to do, and then there's been vice versa. When I had like papers and assignments due, you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then even even within the concept of marriage, sometimes one person is carrying like the emotional load more so, and that just could be because you guys are not having date nights or whatever. You're just not having those times of communication. So anyways, so I want to just provide, I guess, a couple of tips or some things that we've done or that I do when you're feeling that way. Okay. So first of all, I feel as though if you are feeling like you're just not feeling it for whatever reason, take the moment to kind of do an inventory. Yeah. And not just like an inventory of what you have versus what you feel like you should have. Just take it like it's a gratitude inventory. Okay. Just be like, what do you have, and being grateful for that. Be like, let's give some examples. So I'm grateful for, like, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I might not want to, like, okay, this is a real example. Okay. Morning routines are not my favorite. Because my kids, you just never know which personality you're going to get. Every morning it changes, right? So initially I was like, oh, I'm going to get up with the kids and I'm going to get them off to school, and then Jay can sleep in and then he can whatever. And then it was to the point where I was like, this is not working. It's not working. I'm like, literally, by the time I get them to school and back home, I'm like drained. Done for the day. I'm like, I don't want to do anything because like the emotional roller coasters that they were taking me on, couldn't do it. And so I was like, hey, babe, we're going to have to divide this up, especially since you're working from home now. Let's figure out let's figure out a new schedule. So we divide it up now. Yeah. And so that was a thing that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to not have to shoulder that responsibility on my own, but also grateful for that I can bring up my concerns when I'm feeling either overwhelmed or whatever. Just a certain way, yes. So it's like, so I'm grateful for that. And then it's just like, I'll just go through all the things. I am grateful that I do have a husband that actually cares. So I could have easily brought it to me. He'd be like, nah, you got to figure it out. You know? So actually, I'm grateful that I have a husband who's willing to listen and care and like provide solutions and work and all the things. So that's what was like, so yeah. So that's what I would say. Just take an inventory of what you have to be grateful for.
Yeah, and I'll just go. It's. I guess we talked about it last week. We might have talked about it short. But anyhow, this is the same thing kind of like we tell our kids. Like, you know, I don't know if it's just a competition with siblings regarding if they get something, I want something, and vice versa. But that's the same thing we kind of tell our kids. Be like, you know, be happy with what you have currently right now. Like, goodness gracious. I don't know if I'll make it.
That's what I said. I don't know why you started talking.
Just keep going. I'm going. But yeah, like with our kids, they're not happy when, you know, one person gets something and then they want something too, and I have to tell them, like, be happy with what you have. You know, not everybody gets what they want. I was like, you know, you have what you need. You have a house. You have clothes you can wear. You have, you know, you have water that you can take a shower, drink. You have food in the fridge, and it's not like you just have one thing. You have multiple things you can eat. So you be great. In those times when you feel like, I guess, the pressure coming from the outside, or you feel that, oh, you see something that somebody else doesn't have. Like my wife said, take that inventory. And in the sense of what you're saying right now, it's like, that's kind of the same thing. It's like, don't go negative. Just think about the positive. Like, think about, okay, what do I have? Like, and sometimes it's easier to write it too. Instead of trying to just sit in your head and just think, okay, just take out a piece of paper and just kind of do, what I'm grabbing. And don't overthink it. Like, for me, and I'll say for me, because, when I say overthink it is, I always be trying to find the biggest words that can, show emotion. Just like, what am I happy for? What, not about trying to find, okay, what's another word for saying happy? Let me get a synonym for, just write it down. So.
Yes, and I would start off, because if it's something that you're not used to doing, start with 3 to 5 things. Okay. Because usually if you start off with 3, once you get to 3, you'll think, oh, and then that, oh, and then that. Yeah. And then that way it'll stop the cycle. Yeah. So that's what it is for me when I am like, I just don't have the energy. I should say energy. I don't want to put forth the energy in this. It's because I'm now in my head. I'm like cycling in my head. Or I'm also thinking like, I should be this. Like, I should be at this point. Or we should be at this point in our relationship or in our goals, toward our goals, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it's all head stuff. So what you're doing is you're stopping the negative thought cycle. And you're saying, no, I am actually grateful for this. I'm grateful. Oh, then that resets the cycle. Yeah. So instead of the negative, now you're thinking of all the positive, and then it's just like, is it like a domino effect? So then it's like, oh, then there's that, and then there's that. And and you don't, like you said, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be deep, because this is you. You're talking, basically you're encouraging yourself. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be deep, and it doesn't have to be like all of these big grandiose things. It could be that, hey, today I was able to sleep until my alarm went off. For me, that's a big thing, because I hate when I wake up, like when my body wakes up before the alarm. And then it's not enough, it's not really enough time to go back to sleep. Because if you do go back to sleep, then you'll wake up cranky. It's like a whole thing. So I mean, it could be as small as that. It can be as big as, yes, you were waiting on a financial breakthrough that came through. I mean, it's whatever, but it's just the process of stopping that cycle, the negative thought cycle.
Correct.
All right. So another thing is to just communicate. Just be like, babe, I ain't got it. Like, literally, I ain't got it. It's like I'm like tired. Like, if you feel like drained, exhausted, or whatever, like, just be like, I don't have it. I just need to, either that might mean that you need to pour into yourself, because you've been pouring out so much that you're not taking time to recover for yourself. So they can show up well in the relationship. So maybe you need to have a self-care day, or maybe you just need to be able to take a nap, or maybe it's that you need your husband to do the bedtime routine so that you can go to bed on time or at a decent time. Or maybe it's just you put these tasks on your to-do list and you're feeling that you had an unproductive day because you didn't make it through your list. And by me looking at the camera, I'm really talking to myself. Yeah. And so then I'm like, like, man, I should have did this. Like, I will go into critique mode. I'm the best at critiquing myself. So I'm like, I should have did this there and this, that, whatever. And so then it's like, but I've wasted how much time critiquing myself instead of just doing something or getting other stuff done, or doing a poor job of prioritizing my to-do list. Like, what do I actually have to get done today? Yeah. All this other stuff is nice to have, but what do I have to get done? And then letting the other stuff go so that I'm not running myself ragged.
So, yeah, and I would say, come from the husband's point of view, for me, not for everybody else, sometimes that's difficult for me to say. And I'll be honest, that it's difficult sometimes for me to say that I need a self-care day, because part of me is like, okay, prior to me from working from home, my wife shouldered a lot of this stuff. So a lot of times it's like if she, I will try to make sure that I'm taking care of stuff for her, so she can have, if it's a day, if it's a few days, just for her to unwind. And I will say,
days. I didn't know that was on the table. Hey, y'all heard it here first.
You know what I mean. But anyway, so being able to, for me, that's the difficult part, to even say that. And a lot of times, I realized this weekend, and for me, like I've said before, I like to put things together. If it's, playing with cars, like it can be real cars, it can be small cars, remote control cars, something I can put my hands on. That's something that kind of relaxes me, and that's kind of like my, not say self-care, but that's time where I can just like focus on that. Like in this weekend, I was able to do the puzzle. I was able to just put together, like work on a puzzle.
A quarantine puzzle?
Yeah, no, it's like I said, because I'm at home, I haven't had the chance. So like now that I'm home, I've actually made a lot of headway on it, because it wasn't.
I say, well, we pretty much quit.
They quit, so like I made.
The family quit. It was a complicated puzzle, but yeah.
I made a lot of headway on it now, and this weekend I really was just like I got captured in it and didn't realize like, okay, I spent two hours on this, but it was relaxing. Like I was fine, and for me, I need to figure out how I can do that, how I can say, I need a self-care day, because honestly, even if I needed a self-care day, I don't know what, like, I'm not going to leave the house and go somewhere. So it's like.
Well, that's not what self-care is. So you have to determine what self-care is for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Because self-care is like doing the puzzle. Because you're just focusing on something that gives you, that you enjoy doing. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to mean like you have to go out. Because like I'm not necessarily, I probably should be more of a massage person.
You don't like people touching.
But I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, you don't like people touching.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, so like it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go.
Yeah.
It could even be like walking, like a walk or a bike ride. Like it doesn't have to be like you have to go and spend money. Especially if that's what's leading you to be anxious.
Gotcha. Yeah,
you don't want to then go and do something that's going to elevate or escalate that.
That's true.
So, so yeah, it could be so many different things, and it varies per person. I know for me, identifying that you need that time or communicating that you need that time is more important than what you actually do with the time, because if not, you're basically wanting your spouse to be a mind reader.
Oh, yeah.
Because because if you're not communicating, then you're either huffing and puffing around the house, like you like, and you have an attitude, but like I know he know that I had to do this, this, and this, and he ain't even asked to, to help take this off my plate or whatever. Now he expect me to come home and cook him dinner and all whatever. So you can have an attitude, and that can lead to petty fights.
Yeah.
Because you are not expressing that you're not expressing your needs. Also, too, it can just show up as shutdown.
Complete shutdown.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm out. I'm going to do this instead. Or you're going to try to strike up a conversation with me. I'm going to give you one-word answers because I really don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
so there's other. And basically, what we're doing in those moments where we're either shutting down or we're having an attitude and all that stuff is just we're asking for attention, like recognize that something's wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of initiating that communication and saying, hey, something's wrong. I don't necessarily know what's going on, because it's so hard. Like, well, I mean, we always say like your spouse is not a mind reader, because there's so many things that are going on that they do not know. So instead of requiring them to be a mind reader, just put it out there. Because I don't know what's going on with you at work.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in your head. I don't know what pressures you're putting on yourself or what pressures you feel like you have.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on with me, vice versa. And then like, you don't even know, like there's hormones, there's external stresses, there's something that we could be carrying or a burden that we might be carrying that we need to give over to God. Like there's stuff that people are dealing with and within our friend groups and within our family that we don't, like the spouse does not know.
Yeah.
Or doesn't even understand like the gravity of some of those things. Yeah. They might know surface level some information, but we don't know how that information is really impacting you. Mm-hmm. And so instead of requiring the mind, them to read your mind, just say, hey, something's wrong or something's off. Yeah. And I feel as though I'm unappreciated. Just put words to those feelings. Because it's like, I just feel unappreciated right now. Yeah. And it could just be like, oh, that's not the case. I was just busy, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you have to initiate that conversation. Mm-hmm. Don't just wait for, basically don't wait to make your spouse mad enough to show concern. Because that's really what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So, or cook something because you know they don't like it. Oh, well.
I'm trying to. Have you ever seen
No, but I just thought about that. That's in my old days. I might have tried that.
But but we eat pretty much all the same things. So I'm like, what?
But I'm just saying,
I know.
hypothetical. Our marriage is not everybody's relationship.
I get it.
There might be people, but like, listen, I know he don't like ground turkey. Making it up. I'm finna make these burgers with ground turkey. He'll figure it out. If he's hungry enough, he'll eat it. If not. Oh well, like I'm just saying, there's things that you can just random things that people can do to help. Basically, we're raising a flag that hey, something's wrong. Yeah. Ask me what's wrong instead of saying hey, something's wrong.
Gotcha. Okay. No.
Okay. And then also, I want to just say that. Okay, so trying to keep it short because I know you're struggling. But another thing I wanted to say about showing up when you don't necessarily feel like it, you still got to do it.
I didn't know where you was going to go with that.
Well, let's just say marriage is not based on a feeling.
Correct.
Like marriage is an institute. It's something that God has ordained. Like, so it's not based on feelings.
Correct.
So, and feelings are not facts. So if you feel like, I just don't want to do it, okay, but you still need to show up.
It's like, it has to, like, no, I wouldn't say, like, it has to do, like, with work.
Yes, that's exactly what,
like, sometimes you just want to lay in the bed and not do nothing, but you have an obligation. Because I would say you have a contract with that company that you work for, that you have to work certain hours. So that's your contract. In a marriage, you don't have a contract where it's 9 to 5. Like it's a daily thing that you're doing all the time. So every day that's a covenant you made with your spouse that you're going to be there, follow through, do things that you're supposed to do. Sometimes you don't do them, but you're supposed to do. But you're supposed to be in it. Be in it to win it. You don't get paid for being married, but the benefit is for me far outweighs being paid for it. So.
Yeah, and just like you said, work, school, group projects. I hate group projects.
You don't like working with people, but.
I mean, I don't like, not when it comes to, it's my grade.
And,
So I don't want to show up for those things, but yet and still.
You do.
I have to.
Right.
And it's one thing to not show up in your marriage one day, but then if you're showing up, if it's not agreed upon time, like break time, then that one day will quickly turn into a week, will quickly turn into a month. And then when you look up, you're like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And it's because you started to quit or you start to show up less and less every day.
Yeah.
And then when you then you realize, oh no. Then you're trying to, now your marriage is in what's the word I'm looking for? Crisis mode.
I was like, oh, I didn't know where he was going.
Yes, now you're in a crisis, and now you have to seek, a third party like therapy or whatever to help reconcile. Instead of just being transparent, early on, and just showing up and just doing something and just doing it. Like, I know a lot of business, like, master classes and those who are business coaches, but like, just do it scared. Because it's like, it's hard for women to, or I shouldn't say just women, but it's hard to start a business and become an entrepreneur if you don't have that mindset already.
Yeah.
So it's like, just go ahead and just do, like, work with what you have.
Yeah.
And just do it and do it scared. Mm-hmm. And it'll eventually become like natural. So you'll see the progress, because basically if you just start and do it, you'll see the progress over time. And it's the same thing with your marriage. Yeah, you might not feel like it one day, but just get up, choose your spouse daily, and then just do it and walk in it, and you'll realize over time how that, I don't want to say sacrifice, but that faithfulness, that's what will magnify, will be multiplied.
Or it can be, like I said, you get up and you don't feel like it, and then it can be just something simple that your spouse does that,
Exactly.
brings that joy back up. It's like, you know what, I was having a bad day, but hey, my spouse wrote me a note and just put it somewhere, and that made me feel good. It lifted me up that day. So I'm just kind of
or went and got you coffee.
Yeah.
Or went and got you a Bucky sandwich. For all of the Texans, how that does a heart good. Well, because for me, like, my thing is, like, I'm definitely, because we're foodies.
Yeah, we like
so food. Yeah, so if he's like, hey, I'm out, what do you want? Oh. Or just gets it. But anyways.
We're not going to go into the food conversation.
I know, that's what it's like. Cause
you started, that's a little, yeah.
I know. But yeah. So my marriage advance tip, I guess, would be like, just like, because I'm in the therapy space, just like we say, it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to have bad days in your relationship. Yeah. Everybody has a bad day. It's truly more about how you handle it.
Correct.
And so when you're having a bad day, just communicate with your spouse. Say, hey, today's not a good day. And then you guys figure out what that means as far as how, well, I mean, just, why are you laughing?
Because, you say communicate.
Yeah.
But when you say today's not a good day, that's be more communication behind it. Be like, okay.
Well, but I'm saying, but then you have to work it out, because I don't know why you're having a bad day.
I know, that's...
So that's why, that's where the communication will be specific to your situation.
No, that's why...
Because it could be, I'm having a bad day with these kids, I need you to take them. Mm-hmm. Or job's tripping, I'm taking a nap.
So
or whatever.
So what I was saying is, when you say that, then you should say fill in the blank at the end.
Okay.
Because we don't want
Fair.
We don't want it to be just short. Then it's like, okay.
I'm having a bad day because.
Yes, because like if you don't, I'm having a bad day. It's like.
And I need.
Am I supposed to ask you why, or like? Because then that's my reading in. So. But.
That's fair. Yeah. So like, I'm having a bad day, and this is why.
Yeah.
And I need for you. And then fill in it.
Yeah. Having a bad day. I'm feeling this way. Use the the I feel. Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. Because of whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's what, like, I need either space, time, nap, whatever. And then you just kind of fill that in.
Okay.
On how they can support you, how your spouse can support you in that moment.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you again for listening this week. Hopefully next week I'll be talking a little bit longer, a little bit more. But share this with somebody. Share with a friend. Share with a
Yes, share.
Share. If there's any topics you guys would like us to touch upon, just send us an email, DM, let us know, and we will work on it. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, until next week, y'all.
Peace.